You enter the room, and the atmosphere tilts. Laughter thins. Shoulders stiffen. Conversations skid to a hush. No one can name it, yet everyone senses it. An unseen voltage in the air the moment you arrive. You are not rude. You are not arrogant. You are simply present, in a way most people have never learned to be. You ask questions that split the surface. You listen as if silence were a microscope. Your eyes don't wander, they hold. And that is precisely why casual smiles freeze. An invisible intensity surrounds you, one that Carl Jung would call psychic energy, an aura that isn't pastel light but concentrated honesty. People aren't frightened of you. They're frightened of what you mirror back, their insecurities, their half-truths, the masks they've forgotten they're wearing. So they retreat. They gossip. They call you too serious, too deep, too much, hoping labels will neutralize what they can't understand. In Jungian psychology, this reaction is predictable. The more you integrate your shadow, the denied, buried parts of the psyche, the more your very presence disturbs those who remain split from theirs. Most imagine an aura as a rainbow mist. Jung saw something subtler and far more powerful: the unconscious transmission of the self. Every thought, emotion, and unlived truth radiates through body language, voice tone, and silence itself. Long before a single word escapes your lips, your energy has already entered the room, brushing the raw edges of other people's defenses. The less you rely on social masks, the more your aura feels unfiltered, self-aware, calm, intimidatingly coherent. Your gaze carries stories. Your silence turns into a mirror. Jung believed such coherence unconsciously triggers others because it exposes the hollowness of their performative selves. They sense you are living proof that another level of authenticity is possible, and that terrifies anyone addicted to pretending. Remember Jung's central insight: we are not merely minds and bodies, we are living symbols, walking fields of psychic influence. The clearer your inner alignment, the stronger the signal your field emits. Depth has weight, and those unprepared to carry it will instinctively step back. Sign number 1: your honesty feels too intense. You don't speak to impress. You speak to connect, yet your words slice through illusion with surgical precision. You name what others refuse to name: the silent tension at the dinner table, the fear behind the bragging, the sadness beneath the smile. People say you're too deep, but what they truly mean is, you make me feel things I'm not ready to feel. Jung noted that certain souls awaken the unconscious in others. Your voice becomes a catalyst, stirring truths that simple small talk keeps asleep. 12 more signs follow, each one a quiet confrontation between your integrated self and a world still hiding from its reflection. You're not trying to provoke. You're not trying to intimidate. But your very presence cuts through performance like a blade through silk. This is not aggression, it's truth. And for many, that's unbearable. Sign number 2: small talk drains you like a slow leak in your soul. You smile, you nod, you play along. How's the weather? Catch that show last night? You reply politely, but inside, something clenches. It's not that you're above small talk. It's that your being rejects pretense. Carl Jung observed that when a person is deeply connected to their unconscious, they develop an allergy to inauthenticity. Small talk, for you, is not just dull, it feels dishonest. You're not looking for stimulation. You're looking for connection. And your aura, quiet, searching, sends a message others don't expect. This isn't real. Can we speak from somewhere deeper? But that kind of presence breaks the social script. People sense it. They don't know why they feel exposed. Only that they do. So they call you cold, antisocial, distant. But in truth, you are simply starving for honesty, and your energy makes that hunger visible. Sign number 3: you become everyone's confessor. Strangers unburden themselves to you. Friends unravel at your feet. They call you a therapist, though you never offered. It's not coincidence. Jung believed that some people radiate the archetype of the wounded healer, a soul that has embraced its own pain enough to hold space for others. Your presence feels like safety. You listen without flinching. You hold space without rushing to fix. But here lies the paradox. You rarely feel seen in return. You absorb emotion but rarely release your own. You offer sanctuary but don't often receive it. Your aura attracts the broken but intimidates the unaware. You become a refuge and a mystery. Sign number 4: eye contact becomes a confrontation. They glance, then look away. They lower their voice, shift their posture, retreat, not because you're menacing, because your gaze doesn't flinch. Carl Jung taught that when you've integrated your shadow, your eyes reflect back what others are still hiding. You don't just see people, you make them see themselves. And if they're not ready for that mirror, they'll shrink. They might call you intense, unnerving, hard to read, but what they're reacting to isn't you. It's what your aura refuses to let them avoid. Your silence demands honesty, not as a rule, but as a resonance. They feel seen, and that, for many, is more terrifying than being ignored. Sign number 5: your stillness stirs storms in others. You're just there, breathing, observing, existing, and yet someone flares up, gets defensive, withdraws. You feel confused. What did I do? The answer: you didn't do anything. Your aura did. Jung believed that when you embody deep psychic integration, your presence alone activates the unconscious in others. You don't trigger people by speaking. You trigger them by existing in alignment. You become a mirror, not of what they want to see, but of what they've buried. Their envy, their guilt, their shame. And without realizing it, your energy dares them to look. Most don't, most won't, so they blame you for what they're unwilling to face. Sign number 6: you sense masks before you see faces. You can feel it the moment someone enters the room. The fake laugh, the overcompensating charm, the curated performance. Your gut winces. You're not judging, you're perceiving. Jung described this as psychological wholeness. When someone integrates their own shadow, they become attuned to fragmentation in others. Your aura doesn't tolerate illusions. It doesn't attack. It simply says, drop the act. I see you, but most aren't ready, so they avoid you, or label you. They don't realize that your presence is not an assault, it's an invitation to be real. Sign number 7: people lose certainty around you. You ask simple questions that pierce like riddles. You don't challenge people to win, you challenge them to wake up. And that's what unnerves them. Suddenly they doubt themselves. They justify, over-explain, fumble. Jung said that a person who is deeply aware becomes a living contradiction to the collective. Your clarity makes their confusion visible. Your calm stirs their anxiety. Your rootedness reveals their imbalance. You don't have to say anything provocative. Your presence alone destabilizes ego-based certainty. And in a culture built on validation, that makes you quietly dangerous. You never intended to be overwhelming. You were just honest. And in a world that survives on masks, honesty feels like violence. Sign number 8: people open up to you, then disappear. They leaned in. They told you things they'd never told anyone. For a brief moment, it felt real, like a soul recognizing another. And then, silence. They vanish. Distance. Confusion. You replay the conversation wondering, did I do something wrong? You didn't. Jung taught that to be truly seen, not flattered, but understood, can feel like standing naked before a mirror. Your presence didn't wound them. It revealed them. And for someone unready to face their wounds, your authenticity became unbearable. You didn't ruin the connection. You made it too real. That's the paradox. You didn't fail them. You reflected them. Sign number 9: you intimidate without trying. Especially those in power. You walk into a room. You smile. You listen. And yet, something shifts. Your boss stiffens. That dominant voice falls silent. People accustomed to commanding attention start fumbling for words. Not because you're loud, but because your silence is sovereign. Jung believed that those who've integrated their inner power, their king or queen archetype, radiate an energy that defies control. Not rebellion, sovereignty. And those who build identity on control feel it instantly. I can't manipulate this person. So they do what the ego always does when it feels threatened: resent, dismiss, or fear. Your aura doesn't demand obedience. It simply declares, I am not yours to rule. And that is the most subversive act of all. Sign number 10: you enter with kindness, but become the villain. You showed up in good faith. Open hands, honest words. No manipulation, no performance. But somewhere along the line, you became the threat. They called you arrogant, cold, too intense. They twisted your boundaries into ego, your silence into judgment, your solitude into rejection. Why? Projection. Jung described it as one of the most dangerous forces in human relationships. When someone refuses to confront their flaws, they cast them onto someone else. You didn't become the villain. You simply refused to play the victim. And that broke their illusion. They couldn't accept their reflection. So they blamed the mirror. Sign number 11: strangers are drawn to you and don't know why. It happens everywhere. A train station, a grocery aisle, an airport lounge. Someone starts speaking to you, as if they've known you forever. They confess pain, regret, dreams. Then they pause, puzzled, and say, I don't know why I'm telling you this. Jung called this numinous energy, a quiet gravity of the soul. It's not charisma. It's not charm. It's the kind of depth that feels ancient, like a sacred well hidden in plain sight. Even when you're not seeking anyone, your aura calls to the seekers. You don't have to speak. You are the invitation. Sign number 12: you feel the room before anyone says a word. You enter, and instantly, your chest tightens. Something's off. Smiles are too stiff. Words too rehearsed. Tension lingers in corners where no one is standing. Others laugh. You feel the lie behind the laughter. They talk. You hear what's not being said. Carl Jung called this psychological intuition, a deeper intelligence beneath words. You don't analyze. You absorb. And that's your gift, and your burden. You carry emotions you never asked for. You detect pain you never caused. You hold space for things you didn't summon. Your aura is an antenna, and not every signal is meant for you. Unless you guard your energy, you'll bleed for wounds that aren't even yours. They sense it, even before they know what it is. Your presence, your silence, something about you unsettles the room, not with noise, but with truth. You've always felt like a stranger here. Not because you lacked people, but because your soul never learned to settle for surfaces. Even as a child, surrounded by family, you felt like you came from somewhere else. Your eyes, too ancient. Your heart, too quiet. Your mind, always asking, why? Carl Jung believed that some souls are born with a deeper pull. A call from the self, not toward success or pleasure, but toward wholeness, transformation, truth. You are not like the rest. You question what others accept. You dismantle what others defend. You carry a wisdom that feels unearthly. Because it is. It wasn't taught to you. It was forged in solitude. Your aura reflects that. It's heavy with awareness, charged with mystery. Some people are drawn to it. Others run. But few ever ignore it. And that is your paradox. You enter a room, speaking nothing. But the air shifts. People look down. Conversations fumble. And you wonder, what did I do? The answer: you existed. You brought your full self into a space built on masks. You didn't demand attention. You disrupted illusions. Your presence is a mirror. And mirrors aren't always welcome. Jung taught that every person carries a shadow. That part of ourselves we hide, deny, or refuse to face. Most spend their lives avoiding it. But you faced yours. You integrated it. So now, when others look at you, they see the part of themselves they're not ready to meet. And instead of saying, "Teach me," they say, "You're too much." Why does rare energy feel like danger? Because the world is built on sameness. It rewards trends, noise, simplicity. But your energy doesn't play along. You don't seek applause. You don't chase belonging. You ask the only question that matters. What is real? That question breaks people open. Not with violence, but with vibration. Your silence asks things their minds are not ready to answer. So they retreat. They attack. Not because you're wrong, but because you're true. This is the cost of becoming whole. The further you walk toward selfhood, the fewer footsteps you hear beside you. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But he never promised it would be celebrated. He only promised it would be real. And realness, in a world of pretense, is not comfort. It's fire. It burns through roles, rules, and relationships not built to hold truth. You are not broken. You are becoming. Your discomfort in shallow places. Your weariness with small talk. Your quiet grief of always being too much. These are not flaws. They are signs. Signs that you are no longer a shell of who you were told to be. Because when the aura expands, the world shrinks. Illusions fall. People flee. But you remain. Unshaken. Rooted. Rare. You were never made to fit in. You were made to awaken. And with awakening comes resistance. Not just from strangers, but from friends, from family, from parts of yourself that still long for ease. You are a mirror, and mirrors are often smashed before they are thanked. But some, a rare few, will stand in your light and feel seen. They will not flinch. They will soften. And they will remember something they forgot. That wholeness is possible. So no, you are not too much. You are just ahead of your time. Jung wrote, "A lonely day is God's way of saying He wants to spend quality time with you." Maybe your solitude isn't punishment. Maybe it's preparation. For depth. For clarity. For a kind of love the world doesn't know how to speak yet. So don't dim. Don't shrink. Don't apologize. You are not here to be safe. You are here to be sovereign. And though your aura may unsettle many, to the right ones, it will feel like home.